And that's what the fans want to get involved in,
For
because
sure.
honestly, they don't want to see pickleball as just sort of an inferior version of tennis. Like,
Yeah.
it's its own thing, and it's going to have its own direction, its own characteristics, and that's what people love about the sport.
This episode is sponsored by Bemer Therapy. If you guys want to check out Bemer, a great medical device. I've been using it for a long time now. I sleep on it. I use it morning and night. You can go to my website, TysonMcGuffin.com, and see what Bemer's all about. What's going on? My name is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show. We are on episode 64 here. Beautiful day here in Coeur d'Alene. We've had a lot of people in our home recently. We are doing a full home remodel. So we got painters and plumbers and children crying and all the above. I got a special guest on today. My man Keith Shelton. Keith is the Senior Director of Performance Product for Skechers. Keith, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing? It's good to see you again.
Keith, good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. How's the weather there in Manhattan?
Wet and cold and windy, not pickle weather.
Wet, cold, and windy. So for all the viewers and guests out there, if you guys didn't know, the headquarters of Skechers is in beautiful Manhattan Beach. Been there a couple times. The very first time that I was there for my initial meeting, I remember Keith telling me not to be overwhelmed by showing me like 30 different shoe rooms. And after seeing about 10 different shoe rooms, I was very overwhelmed. But kind of a funny story. That first initial meeting, we were brave enough. I wasn't sponsored by Skechers yet. I was trying to win them over, and they were getting a sense of me. My family was getting a sense of them. And we ended up taking the kids to the headquarters. And Keith showed me around all the different shoe rooms, and then we went to the meeting room. We had the kids right behind us and my mother-in-law, and so Meg and I are facing Keith and a few other people that work for Skechers, and we're talking to them, and I told my family, I told the kids, I'm like, hey, make sure you're on the best behavior. This is a huge meeting.
We had grandma there to help.
We had grandma there to help.
Like we were trying to be as prepared.
We had handcuffs to handcuff the kids up. Anyhow, about halfway throughout the meeting, I turn around, and for some reason, Skechers was nice enough to offer this big old table of food, right? It was this huge spread. Cherries, Snickers bars, candy, anything you wanted. And I turn around, and my son Ty is destroying cherries as cherry juice is just running down his face, all over his shirt. It was a complete mess over there. And but kind of a funny story. They were
going to get the accurate picture at that point.
And we completely won Keith over right then and there.
Absolutely. It's besides getting to work with Tyson, getting to work with Meg and the kids and the mother-in-law, and I've met Tyson's mom, and it's just a package deal, and we just love everybody more than the next. So it's been great working with you guys.
Yeah, and that was huge for us too. Skechers is a family-oriented company, and you guys have made us totally feel like family from that very first day, even with cherry juice dripping down Ty's chin all over his shirt. You guys totally took care of us, so we truly appreciate you guys, and it's been a great partnership, and we're coming out with some pretty cool stuff, I'll tell you what. So Keith, tell me, so do you play pickleball?
I do. I'm a pretty bad amateur, just getting into it. Obviously, watching a lot of your videos and your tips.
Good man.
Is definitely making me a little bit better, but definitely at the beginning part of my journey.
We need to come get you McGuffin. Do you know that?
Yes.
Keith is a 6'0" shoe specialist. He's a 2'5" pickleball player. Hey, Keith, tell me. So that Skechers employee clinic that I put on, had a great time. Got to meet the whole crew. My question is, how come you didn't play? Were you just afraid to show off your skills, or?
I was actually in a meeting, and if you recall, I rushed over, and I was still in my street clothes.
You were.
But I was fortunate enough to play the ball boy part.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah.
And Keith, tell me, what do you think about the growth of pickleball? Where do you think the sport is going? Just I guess give me your general outlook on the sport and the PPA tour.
Yeah, for us, I had been following pickleball for about 5 or 6 years, been to a couple of the bigger tournaments, kind of knew everything that was going on with it. I sort of saw the demographic originally was skewing a little bit older, but I felt like it just matched up perfectly with what Skechers was all about. We're the comfort technology company, so I felt we really had something to bring to that demographic. And probably over the last 3, 4 years, with you and, with Annalie and it's just the demographics gotten much, much younger now and more athletic. And so it really fits into not only where Skechers currently is with their current demographic, but it also fits in really well with kind of where we want to go. We want to go after that more younger, that more athletic type person. So the sport of pickleball fits in very, very well to what we're doing at Skechers. Because we don't have a tennis heritage background like a lot of our competitors,
Right.
when we first met with you, we were able to sort of take a fresh look at the sport of pickleball and come out with footwear that was very specific to the sport. Can you wear a tennis shoe to play pickleball? Absolutely. Should you wear a running shoe? Absolutely not. So what we were able to do was sort of listen to you guys, observe, see what the sport was about, and we were able to really curtail sort of a product specific to the unique attributes of pickleball. As far as where we see the sport going, our main driving interest is growing the game of pickleball, growing it in the U.S. Skechers, we're a multi-country, international business. So we're also really heavily invested in growing the sport of pickleball internationally. Ideally, we'd love to see it as an Olympic sport at some point. And so that's sort of where our main drive is to support you, support the sport, and really get that international visibility for it. But then as far as working with the PPA, it's just been amazing. We work with the PPA, the MLP Association. We work with APP. We work with USA Pickleball. So we're really getting heavy into it. Again, really to promote and keep things moving forward. But working specifically with the PPA, Connor and the team has just been amazing. Watching the best athletes compete every weekend it really is it's really thrilling to the product team to be able to see that caliber of athlete, because we all sort of play pickleball and we get out there and the first time I came to Naples and I watched you play, Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of give me 6 months and I can be out there competing.
Yeah.
Well, you guys make the game look super easy, and
Right.
it's not nearly as easy as you guys make it look. But that's sort of what drives the product team, is just knowing that there's people out there like you that are competing at the top echelon of the sport, and we get to support that.
Love that.
So cool.
Tell me, did you get a chance to watch Major League Pickleball there in Mesa a few weeks back? Tell me, what do you think about the energy level and just how that compares to PPA? 'Cause it's definitely different, right? MLP, it's more team event. There's a lot of inner working with playing with different people you don't usually play with. You're also coaching, so there's this coaching element as well, where you're helping out your team and you're giving out advice and stuff like that. And then on top of that, my wife can vouch. I mean, just the crowd and the electricity, the energy. I mean, Skechers is kind of funny. Skechers, who was it? Who was the guys working the booth?
Oh gosh, I'm so bad with names. The two guys there that were running the event, they run most of the events for you guys.
But yeah,
so nice.
They ended up having cowbells. They passed a bunch of cowbells out to the whole New York Hustler crowd. Yeah. I guess what do you think about that energy level and just like the hype from the crowd compared to a PPA event?
Yeah, I kind of what I said earlier. I think, overall the goal is to grow the game.
Right.
And I think having that team sport affiliation is a great way to do it. It definitely has a different vibe. And I think you're going to get players, you're going to get viewers who are going to be much more connected with that MLP type format.
Yeah.
Because they want to kind of come to a sporting event and they want to be rowdy and they want to cheer, and part of, some of the drawbacks with tennis and golf and sports like that is you have to be so quiet. And, it's always about, everyone's got to be quiet and proper. Where you were at the Phoenix Open a few weeks back, and on the 16th hole, it's just an amazing event. It's a whole.
The 16th hole at Waste Management is identical to MLP. There's zero etiquette and no rules, and anything goes, baby. Give the people what they want, Keith.
Exactly. And while I could see it maybe being adjustment for the players,
Yeah, right. Very much
but
so.
for the fans,
That's
it's
great.
amazing,
No,
and that's what
Yeah.
the fans want to get involved in
for
because,
sure.
quite honestly, they don't want to see pickleball as just sort of an inferior version of tennis. Like
Yeah.
it's its own thing, and it's going to have its own direction, its own characteristics, and that's what people love about the sport.
Yeah.
John and Chris. Shout out to John and Chris.
Shout out to John and Chris. Love those guys. And I'm gonna mention this. Something I truly appreciate with Skechers is, when we built the Viper Pro shoe. You guys really gave me a lot of say in the shoe design. I mean, everything from the outsole to the midsole to the tongue to the aesthetics. Look at that beauty. I'll tell you what, best looking shoe in all of sports, I truly believe. Maybe I'm being biased here, but it's got the splash outsole, it's got the pink tongue. We touch the heel and the toe with the pink.
Yeah.
And not only does it look pretty, it is durable. That Goodyear technology with the outsole, I kid you not, I have not been able to even shave down. I mean, even after using that shoe in practice for about 8 weeks, or even up to 12 weeks, I'm not even touching the outsole. So I think something I truly appreciate about this shoe is that it's light. It's 10.5 ounces, unlike most tennis and pickleball shoes out there that are over 13 ounces. And not only is it light, but it's extra durable. And that outsole is a little thicker. The outsole's a little thicker. Which gives it a lot more support, a lot more durability, and I think it really caters to an aggressive mover. It also caters to the older demographic that maybe isn't as aggressive with their movement. And I'm just truly appreciative that you guys kind of let me run with my first shoe design, and took a little trial and error. I think we went through a couple different models. I think that very first model, that was it 4?
4 iterations.
Yeah. I think that very first model you guys sent, I remember like trying it out for the first time. And I'm playing on a hard surface indoors, and I'm like going out for a wide ball and trying to slide, and the outsole was like super gummy. Remember that? And anyhow, once we went to a hard surface outsole that was catered to hard surface, and got rid of that like gummy outsole, I was totally won over. But yeah, we went through four different iterations and came up with a masterpiece. I'll tell you what.
Yep.
Yeah. And if I had $1 for every time somebody has asked me where to get those shoes or when they're coming out, I would be a rich man. I'll tell you what. I think we did a very good job. But Keith, tell me, how does the Viper Pro differ? And for all the viewers and guests out there, the Viper Pro is now available. You guys can go to Skechers.com and purchase your Viper Pro. Not only can you purchase, so my pink colors are not available yet. They will be here soon, but Catherine's colors are available. So if you guys love the look of Catherine's blue Viper Pro, you guys can purchase that today. But Keith, tell me, what's the key differences in the Viper Pro compared to the Viper Court that's been available for the last year or so?
Yeah, I think you did an excellent job of going through a lot of them. The first thing is the outsole. The Viper Court, the original Viper Court, has a Goodyear Weather Adapt. It's based off of more of a snow tire type configuration. So it is going to be a little softer, a little gummier, and it really was meant more for that rec player, that senior age type player who's looking more for sure footing. As we moved into the pro shoe, one of the first things that you told us, which you just said in your story there, is that you need to be able to do a controlled slide on the court. You need to be able to slide into a shot, change directions, and get moving again. So on the Viper Court Pro, the outsole is actually a material called Goodyear Gold. It's a higher abrasion material. It has better durability even than the Weather Adapt, which has incredible durability. So it's really going to allow you to do that controlled slide on the court. You'll also notice that we have an external TPU shank in the midfoot here. That's going to really tighten up that shoe. So as you are changing directions, it's going to provide a lot more stability underfoot, a little bit of a tighter suspension, if you will. The big update we made through the 4 rounds of samples is on this medial side, really bringing up that 3D print, bringing up the rubber on that medial side. that's a very popular spot as you're lunging for a ball. You're
Oh
kind
yeah.
of sliding and dragging that area. Even though you're not overhand serving or hitting a lot of overhead shots, that really is a high wear area. So we've built up that area with both the rubber and the 3D print. But overall, our goal with your shoe was just to make something super lightweight. As you mentioned, it's probably a half ounce lighter than kind of the lightest tennis court shoe that was out there. We wanted you to feel fast on the court. We wanted you to be able to get to balls that you felt like maybe you couldn't get to in other product. And so keeping it super lightweight, putting the abrasion resistance where you need it, and stripping it away from where you don't need it, so that the shoe stays lightweight, breathable, and flexible, was also really important. And then the big thing is obviously aesthetics. You know, if the most exciting man in pickleball is going to be wearing this shoe,
It's got to look the part, Keith.
Yeah, it's got to match that. So we really pumped it up with the design language, new branding, and then working with you on all the colorways and everything has just been a blast.
Love that. Yeah, I know for myself, you know, I was getting some holes with that interior slide, you know, in that toe area, and you know, was getting a couple minor holes, and then yeah, once we raised that rubber and that little guard and made it a little higher, I felt like I wasn't getting holes in that area. Even though it's not even with the other side, I think honestly it's super necessary. And taking a look at tennis players or pickleball players, I mean, that's something very, very common is getting holes either at the toe, like there's toe draggers, or there's those interior sliders. I mean, I was telling Catherine, like, taking a look at some of the photos of her on the run and her ankle bone is almost on the ground. I'm like, hey, I'm pretty flexible with my movement, but I can't do anything like that. She destroys shoes. I don't know how she does it. I told her, I'm like, hey, you got to teach me a thing or two, because I do not move like that. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I was more wearing and tearing with interior toe. She's more like wearing and tearing like interior ankle area, you know?
Yeah.
And but no, I think we made a very good shoe. I've had a wide range of people try that shoe, totally fell in love with the look, with the durability, how thick the outsole is, and you know, like the adding the elastic band and kind of making that sock effect where your foot and your ankle feels a lot more supportive in there. I know people definitely truly appreciate that. And something that we kind of touched on early on with the whole shoe build was, you know, I was using an A6 resolution gel, and I kind of wanted to like make a shoe similar to that, super supportive in the ankle, you know, have that sock effect, supportive in the toe, thicker outsole, but making it very light. And I think we've done a great job. But yeah, all my teaching pros now are rocking the Viper Pros, and
our trainer, you got to tell him the story about our trainer Craig. This is the perfect story.
So my trainer Craig, he's like, he wears size 11, and you know, he was just like, he's obviously a big fan of me. He's playing pickleball now 4 or 5 days a week. He was like an ex MMA guy back in the day, and anyhow, like, I gave him a pair of my shoes. He told me they fit, but more so like he loved the shoe, he loved the design, and loved how comfy it was.
And he was playing in it.
He was playing in it, and his toes, like, obviously, this, like, my shoe's a 9.5. He wears 11. He literally just bit the bullet, and for like 6 months, dealt with so much pain in his toes just to put his foot in that shoe.
Just because he wanted to rock it on the court. He was that in love with the shoe that he was willing to size down. We're like, you should have just told us, but he didn't. He couldn't.
Funny.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, honestly, anybody that I've had try that shoe absolutely loves it. So I think we definitely hit a home run. Tell me this: do you mind talking through some of the Skechers athlete first approach design when it comes to footwear, and kind of how you guys tie everything around the athlete first?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the biggest fundamentals of our product team is listening to the athletes. You know, I told you from the moment we the ink wasn't even wet on the contract. You're the CEO. You're the one that we answer to. We always want to listen. We always want to make you better, and not just on the court. You know, you do a lot of work, as you mentioned, you know, in the gym, and we want to make sure that we provide that support for you. So we're always about listening. My team, we've got probably 200, 220 years of footwear experience. So very, very educated people, but we still get the shoe to about 75, 80% of the way there. And it's listening to the athletes like you and Catherine and Matt Fitzpatrick on the golf side or Meb Koplewski on the running side. And that really helps us get that shoe to 100%. You've been amazing at knowing exactly what you want. When we've given you a prototype, you've been very articulate and telling us what you love about the shoe and also what you're not loving about the shoe. We're able to take those iterations and really come out with a product that you're comfortable on the court in. And again, we want to give you a little bit of an advantage. When you're in the court, hopefully you're saying, hey, if I was playing in one of those older, heavier competitor shoes, I probably wouldn't have got to that ball. But now that I'm in this super fast Viper Court Pro, I'm getting to balls. I'm able to change direction. You also spend a lot of time on your feet because you're playing tournaments, you're teaching camps, you're in the gym working out. And so having like an arch fit insole in there is also really important because it's going to provide more surface, more support on the bottom surface of your foot. So for you and Catherine and other athletes who this isn't a 40-hour a week job anymore. You're on your feet 60, 70 hours. Right. You're traveling through airports. Having a shoe that can do all that is really important for the product team as well. So we're all about listening to the athletes. We're all about providing those solutions to what you need.
Love that. I think, something that I've also heard from, campers or people on YouTube that are commenting on my videos is they obviously want a shoe that has a big enough toe box. They want a shoe that's durable enough. They want a shoe that's comfy enough. And, tell me, the Viper Court compared to the Viper Pro, the Viper Court has a wider toe box, correct?
They actually are both built on a relaxed fit last. So one of the things that we've learned from our technical running shoes is that we want to support the foot just behind the ball. If we can lock your foot in between just behind the ball, across the top of your instep and in the heel, you really don't need a tight toe box. So having more of a relaxed fit last, it's going to allow your toes to have more wiggle room, more space in there. Right. You're a young guy, but a lot of our customers might have bunions or any kind of foot ailments. It allows them to have a little bit more space in that toe box. And when you were talking about your trainer being 11, he was probably feeling a little bit of that because it is a little bit more of a generous toe box. But we do build all of our kind of medium lasts. Medium fit is a relaxed fit. Okay. And just if you buy a medium, you're going to naturally have a little bit more room in the toe box. And then we do offer true triple E wide widths as well. So if you really need a truly wider shoe, we'll also offer those.
Great. And then tell me, what's the price on the Viper Court and the Viper Pro?
So Viper Court sits at around $85 or $90, depending on where you're shopping at. And the Viper Court Pro is going to sit at around $110. Just because you are getting those upgrades, you're getting a better rubber compound, you're getting a much faster shoe, right. So that's going to be the difference in price. And hey,
tell us about that soft pillow of a sandal that you guys have, the hyper burst technology. Absolutely love those slides. I wear them around the house. I wear them at the airport. Now we have the slides in a few different colors. Look at those puppies. I'll tell you what, black and pink with the splash outsole.
Oh yeah.
Show us the outsole here.
There's the.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh, look at those.
Match your slides to your shoe.
If you want a little flare, the flare's on the bottom. Yeah, honestly, those slides are by far the comfiest slides I have ever witnessed. It's like walking on a 5-star pillow.
We wear them like slippers too around the house. I mean, we wear them everywhere.
We do. Something that my trainer has. He definitely has a pair of those, but doesn't have a pair of the Viper Pros yet, or does, but obviously just can't fit into them. Let's see here. So it seems like recently Skechers has partnered up with a few different tours and is the official shoe for USA Pickleball, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me why the involvement in the sport. Tell me, why you guys wanted to be a part of the governing body and be the official shoe.
Yeah, again, for us, it's always about propelling the sport of pickle, further, faster, getting it spread internationally. So anytime we can partner up with some of these associations and governing bodies, it just helps us promote the sport even more. It lets everybody know we are fully engaged.
Yeah.
We're not coming out on the tour, as you know, and signing everybody who's willing to wear a Skechers shoe. That was never our intent. Our intent was to have a few key athletes here and there that really helped us with our objective of promoting the sport. So it's never been about signing every athlete that we can sign. There's plenty of athletes out on the tours that would love to wear our product, and we're sort of turning those people away right now. So anytime we can get an association with those big federations or a big tournament or a big tour like the PPA, it only helps us in our vested goal of moving the sport of pickleball forward.
Love that. Hey, what do you got behind you there? Looks like you got Catherine and I, and is that the pickleball display?
Where are we at? We're over here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then little Catherine.
Oh, yeah.
Sorrento right there. Yeah. So I'm in our performance showroom, and so in here is where we do all the footwear that's associated specifically with athletes, whether it's individual sports or whether it's team sports. And so what I've got behind me, you see a little bit of Matt Fitzpatrick. He just won the U.S. Open last year,
So cool.
and then of course, you and Catherine have been a huge part of it. So
Yeah.
when you come into our showroom, you see the image of the athletes, you see the product, you get the connection that we are all about listening to the athletes. We're all about making those athletes perform better. And so we really love to show that. It's part of the story when we bring athletes or we bring customers or we bring the media or whoever into our showrooms. That's part of the story. Part of it is, hey, it's a great shoe, but part of it is telling the cherry juice story. There's just so much that goes with it. It's the sizzle with the steak, right?
It's the sizzle with the steak, baby. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, hey, tell me this. Taking a look at Fila, Fila obviously, with their pickleball shoe really just kind of came, like the design and the engineering came from tennis. You take a look at Head's in the sport. Head made a tennis shoe and kind of turned it into a pickleball shoe, but honestly, it's very similar. Don't know, what real adjustments they did make. But how does the Skechers shoe differ from just a general tennis shoe?
Yeah, for us, obviously the abrasion resistance is, we felt tennis shoes were very heavy. They were very overbuilt because the sport of tennis can be a little bit more demanding because the size of the court, your overhand serving, so there's a drag to the tip of the toe within that you really don't get in pickleball. When we first started talking with you, you kind of threw out some ideas of, hey, maybe I've got different requirements for the singles game versus the doubles game. And so we've been taking a look at that because you're playing a much smaller court, because the movements are different, because you're changing direction, and you never really get up to a full high-speed sprint
Right.
like you would maybe in tennis, but you need those quick movements. You need to be from the baseline to the kitchen really fast, side to side really fast. So that's kind of what our philosophy is we felt tennis shoes traditionally were heavy, they were overbuilt. We wanted to go at it from a very lightweight, fast standpoint. And some of the initial prototypes that we worked on with you, we went a little too far. And so by having you train in the shoes and say, hey, I need a little bit more support here, I need a little less gummy on the outsole, we were able to sort of dial that back to a level where you can be super fast and super light on the court.
Right.
And we've got that razor's thin edge of like support and stability built into the shoe and not putting anything into the shoe that you don't need. But I also mentioned if you're wearing these shoes in the gym or you're just wearing them through the airport, it's also amazing how you would probably never wear a tennis shoe to travel in because, again, they're very flat, they're clunky, they're overbuilt, they're heavy. But this is also just an amazing, comfortable travel shoe because of everything that we put into it. We want you to be performance, comfort ready.
Very cool. Yeah, I have not been seen at an airport with my Viper Pros, but in the near future, somebody could definitely see me in my Viper Pros. Usually I'm rocking my slides at the airport.
I was gonna say we're keeping them all
Yep.
perfect before we get to the tournament. Before
Right.
we get there, we've got them all packed.
And something I got to mention too is something I love about yourself and Skechers is not only have we come up with the Viper Pro, but we also have a Viper Elite that really nobody knows about, and it's kind of an upgrade from the Viper Pro. It's probably in between like the Viper Pro and like a 14-ounce tennis shoe. Definitely a little heavier than the Viper Pro, but like you had mentioned, kind of more like a tennis shoe where it's a bit more built up. It's a little bulkier. Today was the first day that I tried those shoes on with my new inserts, and I'll tell you what, like I didn't feel weighed down. They didn't feel bulky, even though they were like an ounce or two heavier. I felt plenty of support in the toe, plenty of support in the ankle, and no, it's a great shoe. I think for athletes that maybe just need a bit more support, that maybe love the Viper Pro, but could use a bit more support in the center of your foot and in the heel. I think the Viper Elite's is a great addition.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed the objective on that shoe. So the Viper Court Pro was created to be a super fast, quick transition type product. The Viper Court Elite is definitely going to have better durability. You're going to have more support, more stability. We're going to put a little bit more abrasion resistance into the upper. We're not ready to show that shoe yet. Obviously, we're still going through those iterations of prototypes, but that is absolutely the objective. Is for somebody that maybe needs a little bit more shoe than the Viper Court Pro, we're going to now have that Elite level type product that's going to check all those boxes. It does come in just under 13 ounces. So even at 13 ounces, it's a little heavier than the Pro because you're getting a little bit more rubber, a little bit more abrasion resistant componentry on the upper. You're getting a little bit more midsole. Even though you're the same distance, the same height off the ground, you've got a little bit more midsole that you're sitting into. So it's going to provide more support, more stability. So we're really excited for that. You can look for that shoe to hopefully be launching this fall.
And hey, tell us about the aesthetics of that shoe, because it looks like a pretty snazzy shoe, I'll tell you what.
It is. It's a really interesting way of doing it. We use some 3D printing on the upper. We've got a nice ballistic mesh underneath, so it keeps the shoe lightweight, extremely flexible. And again, it's just putting that abrasion resistance properties in the areas that you need it, not the entire shoe. That helps us keep the shoe lighter weight. And then again, we've gone to the Goodyear Gold outsole compound, so you're going to have that higher durability. It's going to allow you to do those controlled slides on the court. And then, other than that, it's just an amazing all-around shoe. You gain a little bit of weight because of the added support, the added durability we're putting into the outsole. But overall, when athletes have been testing it, once you get it on your foot, you don't feel any sort of extra weight. It still feels super lightweight on the court.
Awesome. So taking a look at my wife here, my wife has her signature edition Mark Nason's. Is it Mark Nason?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's rocking those things proudly. I'll tell you what.
I love it. We just redid we said we were kind of redoing our house, and we just redid our master closet, and I think most all of my shoes are Skechers now. They are. And they all look very different, which is so cool. Like whether we're, hiking or, out in the snow or
kids are decked out in Skechers shoes. Ty's got his light up shoes.
Even you with your little sandals there.
Yeah. For all you viewers and listeners out there, if you want to find some cool stuff, and maybe you're thinking Skechers is just a mall walking shoe, or it's only catered to 10 and under kids with light up shoes. You are wrong. You are wrong. I have witnessed that they have plenty of cool shoes, lifestyle foamies, and those new Hyperburst slides that I rock all the time are those things are awesome. So.
Yeah, we've got over 30 different divisions at Skechers, high-end, Mark Nason type, high-fashion type products, all the way down to sandals, winter boots, performance products, everything in between. So with 30 different divisions, I can guarantee we've got something for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, appreciate you coming on here, brother. And next time I see you, I want to hear that you're playing some more pickleball and that you're not just watching my videos on YouTube, okay?
Absolutely. That's my goal, is I'm going to get out on the tour one day.
Okay, watch out. Watch out. The senior tour.
The plus 60.
The big debut. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Keith, I want to say thanks again for coming on, man. Have yourself a great day. And for all the viewers and listeners out there, you guys can purchase your Skechers shoes by going to Skechers.com. Click on that pickleball tab, And you can take a look at all the shoes they offer. And don't forget to buy yourself some slides as well. Keith, thank you.
Yep, thank you guys. Enjoyed it.
My name is Tyson McGuffin. This is The McGuffin Show. We will see you guys next episode.